Hi, I'm Dawn Watson, and this is Right Now on the East End. The summer is flying by. It's already July 16th. I'm mid-month, haven't been to the beach nearly enough, and we are already hurtling towards August. So if you haven't been out, if you haven't accomplished all your goals yet, get out there and get cracking because the summer is passing us by. Let's dig into the news for this week. First up, I want to take our pandemic temperature. Unfortunately, it looks like Suffolk County COVID-19 cases are actually on the rise, probably no thanks to maskless July 4th gatherings and parties, which is frustrating. Why? We're almost past this. Wear your masks. It's interesting that the East Hampton Star reports that according to Suffolk County Executive Steve Bellone, Suffolk's numbers are now higher percentage-wise than the city. Yikes. I mean, that's a lot to take in, but that's true. We are in phase 4, of course, but earlier this week we did see our numbers jump county-wide. Now, again, East End is not all of Suffolk County, but still, our numbers jumped in Suffolk County more than 100 over the weekend, with more than 100 confirmed cases being shown this weekend, and the numbers have pushed us above 2% in Suffolk County for the rate. Half of those cases, just under half of those cases, I think it's about 46% it shows, are coming from people who are age 30 and under. So if you're 30 and under and you're watching this, probably not on television, but on your laptop, please remember that you need to wear a mask in order that you do not infect people who are older than you or younger than you. So there you go. Data released by New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo also shows that Suffolk County has the third highest number of COVID numbers in the state. We have 42,267 cases compared to Nassau, which has 42,462 cases. And New York City, of course, leads the state. Obviously, there are that many people there. But New York City has just under 220,000 cases at the time of this reporting of people who have tested positive. Cuomo also this week released I don't know if anyone's seen this yet or not, but I love it. He released a pandemic poster, which is depicting New York's response to the virus. It's kind of a folk art creation, and we don't know who the artist is, but there's a lot to unpack with this image, which basically is supposed to depict how New York has risen over the mountain and gone over the top into the area to flatten the curve. So interesting. I want to know more about this poster. I know he's released a few since this whole thing has started. But this one to me is quite personal and interesting. So even though we're in the middle of a pandemic, obviously there's not much stopping us here in the Hamptons. It's as people have continued to move out of the city, they're coming here to us. And so real estate specifically, and even luxury retail, are really booming at this time. I've been reading a lot of national stories. Most recently this morning, I read a story in Forbes, and it was talking about how the world's wealthy, about half of them say that they have already moved or are going to be moving out of cities and into more country regions, such as the Hamptons, obviously. And many of them are planning to do that so permanently, which is kind of like a good news, bad news situation for us. I mean, if you're a year-rounder, we're thrilled to have new people here, and we're thrilled to have people who are helping our economy move along. And we are fortunate in that we are in such a strong economy here in the Hamptons. The bad news, of course, is that there's more traffic and more people than we've seen, I've seen ever since I've been out here. So, yeah, good news, bad news. The CPF numbers actually are really good descriptors of this information. So we see that some hard data that supports the theory that there are more people moving out here, as we've seen all along with some of the real estate transactions that have occurred. But the CPF is now showing its highest take in its 22-year history, and that's according to New York State Assemblyman Fred Thiel, who is the person who actually created the CPF. The Shelter Island Reporter, we have numbers here, breaks down all of the different areas of the East End to show where the numbers are coming from. But it basically says that the fund itself took in $45.43 million in revenue from January to May. Last year at this time, that number was only $29.42 million. So that's a significant spike. It's a 54.4% spike in revenue in the first 5 months of 2020. So, wow, significant. It's also the biggest cash influx that we've seen since the actual inception of the CPF back in 1999. So that's a kind of an interesting thing. I don't know where we're going to go up from there, but I think, according to everything I've been reading, that's another mountain, and we are going to continue to climb it. For those who do not know, the CPF, the Community Preservation Fund, actually draws that money from a 2% transfer tax from all real estate, residential real estate transfers, so sales. It's no surprise that the city has been emptying out in favor of the East End. And as we see that, it's what's the phrase is follow the money. So we've seen businesses more and more and more are coming out here and trying to capitalize on those of us who live here and those who want to live here longer. So some of the things that I've seen that have come out, like we've gotten Armani, Jimmy Choo, a lot of other luxury retailers have kind of made tracks out to the Hamptons. Also a number of blue chip art galleries and restaurants and pop-ups and delivery services are coming out. But one industry that's been kind of touched very hard by COVID-19 are the gyms and the fitness centers, because even though we're in phase 4, they have not really been allowed to open up, even though malls have now opened up. But I think that what's interesting is that everyone's gotten very, very creative. As you can see here, it's a picture of a lady, an instructor at SoulCycle. They are now holding classes outdoors at Watermill and their Bridgehampton locations. So they're doing it under a tent with headphones for everyone who rides, so that way it's quiet, but you're still getting your workout in. Tracy Anderson is also doing a COVID-conscious outdoor sessions at her studio on Watermill. And high-intensity training studio fitting room has taken up residents outdoors at the clubhouse in East Hampton this summer. And all classes for that group are BYO, not bring your own bottle, but bring your own towel, mat, and workout gear. Same goes for Mandala Yoga and Amagansett, who is conducting classes via Zoom, and that's also doing outdoor classes at Amagansett Square. And as we see, this is kind of interesting. I think we're going to see more and more of this kind of construction across all sorts of different types of industries. But Elements Fitness Studio in East Hampton, they do bar-based classes, and so doing outside workouts is tough. So what they've done is they've added glass partitions in between their bar stations, so that way people can still come in and work out, but feel safe and secure under glass. And let me see, I think that's about it. But this is fascinating. There's some national studies that have been people have been conducting about gyms and working out, and apparently about 20% of Americans only 20% of Americans say that they feel comfortable going back to the gym, and 25% say they are never going to go back. So I think that the people who make yoga pants are really going to see a boon very, very soon, even more than normal. I do have some good news, and this is something that is kind of a personal thing for me, very close to my heart. Since childhood, I've loved going to the drive-in, and we've seen this more and more, like all these kind of retro movie showings going on out here. It's very popular, and it's also a great fundraiser for our different nonprofit organizations. Now we're going to add a drive-in concert to the mix. And what's really cool about this one is it's starring the Chainsmokers, who it's a DJ, a DJ group who got their start here in the Hamptons. And they are going to be performing a Safe and Sound drive-in concert at Nova's Arc Project in Watermill this coming weekend, Saturday, July 25th, which I think is super duper cool. I'm so glad that they're coming back out as well. If you want to buy tickets, get them now, because I'm sure they're going to sell out very, very fast since they are socially distant. Tickets are available online at safeandsound2020.com/JAJA. I don't know what the Jaja is, but it's there. The event's also going to feature DJ D-Soul and special guest Mike White. I'm old because I don't know who these people are, but that's okay. I do know that one of the MCs is Southampton Town Supervisor Jay Schneiderman, who is going to be playing a gig there with his band, awesome, and Southampton Village Mayor Jesse Warren. Obviously, there are going to be a whole lot of safety measures associated with this. I think that even when you go to buy your tickets online, you have to fill out a contact tracing form, and everyone will be socially distanced and wearing masks at the event. Okay. Speaking of kind of a safety issue, there has been a rise in the number of car thefts. I'm not sure if it's across the East End, but certainly in Southampton Town, which has reported about a dozen thefts from January to the beginning of June. Most of the thefts are taking place for luxury cars like Mercedes, Land Rovers, that kind of stuff. I do have a video which shows exactly what's going on and how the thieves pretty much seem to be knowing what they're doing. I mean, this is some bold stuff. Just jogged right up down a driveway, got in a car, I guess because he saw that they'd planned it, but saw that the mirrors were out, which then shows that the car was unlocked. So he got in the car, turned it on, drove off. Interesting. So take some precautions, stay safe. If you can park your car in a garage, please do so. Or if you can't do it in a garage, then park it under a motion detective light. Lock it up, put your valuables away, and immediately call the police. Clearly, obviously, if you see a car missing. Of course, here we have so many people who don't live here all the time necessarily that it might be a while before you see that. But I think that's about it for this week, although I do have to say, ending on a positive note, we have a wonderful beach weather weekend this weekend. So if you feel like you're heading out to the beach or just outside, mask up, stay safe, enjoy all of the beauty that we have here on the East End. And that's it. Until next week, I'm Dawn Watson, and this is Right Now on the East End.